fundamental children of history, man. No purpose or place. You have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war.
Throw me under the bus right away.
Right. I have a different take on all the people. Well, probably not a lot of people, but not very many people. I think autism is a superpower. I think kids with autism, it's a spectrum of like how much their superpowers are on a gauge of scale, right? Because I've seen kids with autism just hyper focus on things and just be able to do things I've never thought humanly possible. I saw a kid earlier on this weekend. He had a 12 by 12 Rubik's Cube, right? But it was also chess. So once I had chess, so like to move a piece, you had to do the Rubik's Cube to move the piece to where you wanted it to go. And he was doing it. It was crazy.
Huh.
Tell me that's not a superpower.
That's way better than most autism I've seen.
No, most autism is just like kids screaming in the back seat, and then the mom yelling at them, why can't they just be normal?
Yeah, that one's not so much a superpower there.
You don't know what kind of latent superpowers they're dealing with, though. They just haven't progressed enough to where you understand their superpowers at this point. My camera looks better today. I guess the internet's working better.
Your camera definitely looks better, but it is kind of stopping and going every once in a while already.
I've got a backup plan. I already told Rob I've got a contingency plan. I've got my cell phone on a stand, and so I can just go to cell phone if I need to. If things get crazy. I had to get a new router. Do we still talk to Rick? Yeah,
yes, we still talk to Rick Barrett.
Yeah, we just haven't had him on in a little bit. We will soon. I don't punch right. Come on, I know we almost have a dozen people. Literally, there are dozens of people who like us.
They're just not watching right now.
No, not right now. Not right now at all. So, just an update for y'all on my Thanksgiving. I did make deviled eggs, and I made my cranberry relish. It was phenomenal. We did get honey baked ham, like we always do. It's just good. Why not? That's one less thing we have to do is cook the meat. And plus, like the meat is one of those things you can't trust everyone to do.
That's true.
Right. And I don't always want to do it. Honestly, I like to do other things as well. So I didn't want to have to do it. So it was I accidentally turned off my mic. Other than that, the weekend. So I almost didn't make it to the show tonight because one of my daughters was being she's 7 years old and she was trying to help out mommy by cleaning the toilet. And you know those toilet cleaner brushes where it has a wand and you stick it on the scrubber, yeah. And when you're done, you just click it. Well, she was like cleaning and she's like, "What does this button do?" And clicked it, and it went into the toilet, like up past
as it flushed.
Yeah, no, it didn't flush. Thankfully, she had the smarts not to flush it. So me and my wife, I'm like, man, because I have this toilet's an old toilet. It's mounted on the wall, not in the floor. Right?
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't even think they make those anymore. If they do, I can't find them. I'll probably have to buy one from an antique store or something. But so we had to completely empty the back tank and the toilet itself with water. And I think because of the equilibrium of the fluid, it kind of flushed it to the front once we. I'm like because I can't get the rest out. Like there's that little bit down at the bottom of the toilet you can't get out,
right?
With like scooping it. So I'm sticking a towel in there to try and soak it out.
Yep.
And then I see this thing come out, and all I saw when it come out is $300 I didn't have to spend. I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. I was like, I do not need to be spending a few $100s. I will be having a toilet shop at the flea market. I've never seen this before. I've never seen a toilet mounted to the wall.
But it's not one that has, because like there are wall mounted toilets where the actual working of the toilets is in the wall. You know what
No,
I'm talking about? This isn't
this
one
is
of
a
those.
regular toilet, but instead of the flange and the being at the bottom on the floor, it's in the
Yeah.
wall.
Strange.
Yeah, before this house, I've never seen it in my life. So that was going on. We've got like some type of weird cold thing going around right now. So hopefully I don't get that. That'll be good. Hopefully we'll see. But I put to test this month's competition, so we'll do that here in a little bit. I think you'll all like it. It does involve shooting. So for those of y'all live up north and you have to brave the cold to go shoot, suck it up. I still have to get.
I think it's not supposed to be one of the coldest Decembers on record, or anything. Adrian,
Are you? So that was sarcasm, is what that was. Okay,
that was that was, of course, it was sarcasm. I don't talk with serious on this show.
Okay. But we'll put it out today. And to be honest with you, you could do this in an indoor range.
Don't have one of those.
You don't have an indoor range near you at all?
2 hours. It's right by the right by our last mass.
Yeah. Well, maybe when you go to mass one day, you'll go do it. That's a good work. That's a good use of your leisure time. Tell your boys, hey, I gotta go inside and go shoot the gun for about 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Y'all sit in the car seat and watch this video.
Yeah, right. What?
Ocean says he didn't have sound. Is that me?
No, I think maybe he's watching but not listening, and he wants people to tell him what we're talking about. I don't know what's going on here.
Good. All right. So I don't want to bury the lead too much. I want to go ahead and get into this topic because I don't know how
we're not going to talk about random stuff for 45 minutes.
Although the banter is fun, and people like the banter, we probably need to go ahead and get on the topic because I have a lot of inside knowledge of this topic.
Here.
Yeah, I have a little bit of inside knowledge on this that experience with some aspects of this that other people might not otherwise get anywhere else.
Right.
So the on the notes I sent you.
Yes.
The first one I sent you, it kind of goes over who he was. So for those of you that don't know, or maybe like you are a normal adjusted person, you haven't really paid attention to social media since last week. Right before Thanksgiving, a Afghan immigrant tried to execute a couple of nationals in Washington, D.C. And so two of the two that he shot ended up passing away. One is still critically injured. And so that has brought up a lot in social media of we need to get rid of these people. Like we can't live in a country with these people. And then that's on one side. On the other side, it's a lot of, well, it's our fault that he's like that. And so we shouldn't blame him completely, which is removing agency from somebody and saying they're not responsible for their actions. So, we don't agree with that here on the show. I'm speaking for Rob here. I didn't even talk to him about this before.
No,
but I'm assuming I know Rob well enough to know that we're all responsible for our actions. You can't blame your actions on previous trauma. Because if we're going to do that, I've got plenty of trauma in my life. I could be making some really horrible decisions and trying to pass it off as that. We all do. We all have trauma in our life, some to varying degrees.
I do a show with Anthony twice a week.
You do. And that's continual trauma. And I don't know why you punish yourself that way. You just don't love yourself.
Sanctification, Adrian. Sanctification.
The mortification of the body and the soul and the mind. I got
mostly, all of the above.
So let's go ahead and pull that up real quick. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read some excerpts. So Rahmanullah Lakwanwal, a 29-year-old, and I don't know if I pronounced that correct. I'm pretty sure I was close. 29-year-old Afghan national worked with the CIA as part of an elite counterterrorism unit called NDS-03, also known as the Kandahar Strike Force. This one is approximately 5 paramilitary groups called Zero units that operated under Afghan National Director of Security. The Afghanistan's National Director of Security is similar to if we combined the FBI and the CIA together. Okay, they have a law enforcement arm and they have an intelligence arm that does everything. When I was in Afghanistan, I worked with the intelligence side of NDS. My first deployment, I had an NDS agent basically in my hip pocket the entire deployment, and we were passing information back and forth to each other. Okay, he was from Kabul, and most of them are, because they're pretty much the only ones that can read. Most of the literacy rate in Afghanistan is very, very poor. And so my experience with NDS is we're going to talk about that in here a second. But my experience with NDS is you have a lot of them who just want to create some type of peace in Afghanistan where it's easier to live, but they are also very much Muslim and they are very much susceptible to corruption. All of them, right? It was very common for me to have to bribe some of these guys to get some information out of them. So with the NDS, and the way they worked with the CIA, they worked in a liaison capacity. The CIA provided them a lot of training, provided them, especially with paramilitary training, because there's a paramilitary arm of the CIA as well. I've got quite a few friends that have worked in that aspect as well. I've worked with a few in other capacities, but they train them as basically hunter-killer units, right? Like, and I hate saying that term because that's a specific term, but for the average layperson out there, that is the best thing I can compare it to for you to understand what the purpose of these was. Their goal was to identify, target, and destroy HVIs, high value individuals. Okay, so that's where this guy came from. When in 2021, when the fall of Afghanistan happened and the Taliban took over, and we had 80,000 Afghans come in under Operation Allies Welcome. Of those 80,000, about 10,000 were these death unit guys. So there's 9,999 more of that guy out there.
They had 10,000 in these special units.
Mm-hmm. And we don't know where they're at. As soon as they got to the country, they pieced out. Right? We have no idea where they're at because a lot of them changed their names. They get fraudulent social security numbers and other things in order to kind of disappear into the system. We don't know how many were Taliban to begin with and just acted like and portrayed themselves as part of the death unit as well. So there's possibly 10,000 other guys just like this out there. So I bring that up because especially down in Kandahar. Kandahar was to the east of Helmand, where I was my first deployment. They were specifically tasked with targeting of Taliban rat lines, the Haqqani network that had spread down there, coming up from Pakistan. So they are very adept at rural and urban operations. So just to kind of, start this out, that's not going to be the last one. We're going to have more. And it happened in Washington, D.C., where he's not supposed to have a firearm.
Right.
So your gun laws don't work here, right? You have no power here, basically. And that's what they're going to continue to target is soft targets like that. So I just wanted to start off with that. Rob, did you have anything on that?
Well, yes. And maybe there's more information in what you said that we'll go through later, but from what you've seen or heard or any personal insight, like, do you think this guy like originally believed in the mission and then came over to America and was radicalized here, or do you think this is part of a larger network? I mean, I
don't think he is specifically part of it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm going based off of what I've read, right? So I don't have any inside knowledge of any of this. It doesn't seem, based on the reports of people who knew him that are coming out, it doesn't seem like he was radicalized. it sounds like he is getting revenge for feeling like he's been isolated and cut off from the CIA. And the
More
support he had.
disillusioned than
Yeah.
radicalized.
Yeah, it seems that way, right? Which is what they did to all of them. Like I've got interpreters still in Afghanistan trying to get out, and they feel abandoned by the U.S. government as well. Because a lot of the times they were promised in their contract to work as an interpreter while in country with a green card to come here. And we've not given that to them. A lot of them. And a lot of them have died, and their families have been killed because they got found out that they had been working with the Americans while that was going on. So it's very possible, though, that once they got here, a lot of them, they are being radicalized. Because if they feel disillusioned and isolated, they're going to go seek their culture and their community, which is going to be a lot of these mosques, and a lot of these mosques are openly radicalizing people.
To be fair, it's not all that dissimilar from disillusioned young American men turning to the tradition, to the traditional faith and traditional culture and things like that. It's just that their traditions, include strapping bombs to themselves.
Yeah. And we've got reports and white papers have been released about mosques in Texas who are just storing hundreds and hundreds of weapons, firearms, explosives, things of that sort. There was I don't know when the date on when he gave it, but there was at a town hall, a former sheriff, he had retired or resigned or whatever because of this, because they weren't doing anything about it. A report from him that he had found multiple mosques in Texas that were just stacking firearms and explosives and training and things of that sort. So it's coming. They're just waiting for the time to use it. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up because Islam's kind of been off the burner, because everything else is now on the burner. But Islam is always going to be an issue here, especially since the last 4 years when we've brought in so many.
Plus you have like the Somali community in Minnesota sending billions in fraud over to Al-Shabaab.
Yeah. So I want to kind of start off with that. The next link there in the notes, Rob, is about vetting and how we basically didn't vet any of these people. If you can bring that one up.
Yep.
It's basically a whistleblower who's talking about he was initially brought in to investigate over 400 missing Afghan nationals. They disappeared as soon as they got here. Right. This has been happening since the war in Afghan started. We used to bring Afghan officers to the United States to train here. They would get here, they would show up for training, and they would be there for about 3 days, and they're gone to the winds. Like, did they just walk off the base or drive off the base, or whatever, and we have no idea where they're at. That was happening by the hundreds every year. Every time we brought them in, they just took off. Right? If you go scroll down, we'll get to the second one there. So, like I said, initially he was brought in to investigate over 400 missing Afghan nationals who disappeared the day they arrived in the U.S. Okay. His 4 agents were overwhelmed when that grew to 8,500 Afghans. So they never went to where they were supposed to go. He gave his report to the OIG, and nothing was ever done about it. So this is just one aspect to reinforce there was no vetting done when all these people were being brought in. They're basically just like, hey, if you can make it in the gate, you can come. And so how many people got through that were not of goodwill, we'll say, who had evil deeds in mind, right? And we've seen it this year. We've seen multiple Muslims. We had one in Boulder, Colorado in June who attacked that Israel parade or whatever it was at the university there with the firebomb. You remember the one during New Year's Eve who attacked in New Orleans? ran a bunch of people down with his vehicle, his truck. We have this, right? And that's just 3 off the top of my head. But who knows what else has happened that I haven't seen. And then the third link here, and this is where it starts getting into. We had 82,000 people airlifted from Kabul in August, and this was back in, what was the date on this? November 21, right? So at this point, Biden had been in office for 10 months, 11 months maybe. Before this happened in August, it was 8 months. And they basically just let everyone in. And so I'm bringing all these, and I'll give out these links if y'all want, so y'all can go through and read them, so y'all can see this. So you'll hear a lot from Muslim apologists, and keep in mind, I'm not an expert in Islam. I have experience with them. I have done some research, probably more than everyone here, but I'm not an expert by any definition of the word. What a Muslim will tell you is there's 2 types of jihad. There's an internal jihad, kind of like our, mortification of the soul, right? And so you're trying to make yourself more holy. That's one aspect that is true. But there is also the war jihad, where their goal is to kill the infidel, is to turn every country Muslim. And that is the one that most people identify with in Islam, whether you're Sunni or Shia. And for those of you who aren't aware, there's 2 major sects of Islam. There's other smaller ones, like Assad in Syria was of a completely different sect of Islam. But Sunni and Shia, Sunni is about 90% of Muslims. Shia is about 10%. The difference really is the Shias believe that the 13th Imam or 12th Imam is one of those, is eventually going to come back and create a caliphate over to the entire world. Where
the Mahdi, right?
Yeah. So the Sunnis basically just believe that the Wahhabis are more of your extreme Sunnis. That's what bin Laden and the Saudis mostly identifies with Wahhabis. But when most Muslims get into a first world secular country, they tend to stray from Islam. So that's why, I've always said a moderate Muslim is not a Muslim, because they don't really adhere to any of the tenets of Islam anymore. They just identify for it as a cultural aspect, which can also be an issue if Islam ends up taking over anywhere, like in Dearborn, Michigan, right? The Muslims that were there, and they were just basically acting as Americans because that's what everybody did. But once the Muslims took over, now they identify more with Islam and they're much more militant, right? And we're going to get into some other aspects of Islam here in a second, like taqiyya and some other aspects. But I bring all this up because in fact, let's go ahead and pull this up. So
which one?
On the notes, it's titled "How Islam Takes Over by Demographics."
Yeah.
There's an actual file down there at the bottom. You can just click on if you'd rather do that. So you just get like a screenshot of it, pretty much. It's either do the link or that, whatever's easiest. I will do the link. So what this outlines, and this has basically been diluted down to easy consumption of a white paper to the Department of War, of how, and this was done early in the Iraq-Afghan war. This was done early to identify how Islam takes over cultures, right? So it just lays it out, and this is 0 to 2% of the population of any area. So say 0 to 2% of New York, okay? So at 0 to 2%, when Muslims constitute less than 2% of the population, they typically maintain a low profile. This is the stage of dawah, Islamic proselytization, and reputation building. Islam is presented to the host society as peaceful, rational, and ethical. So they're basically showing themselves in the best light possible to be able to get more people brought in. Okay. It's also marked by a strong narrative of victimhood. Muslims are the victims and everything. You won't allow us to wear our women to wear their hijab. You won't adhere to our need to pray at work 5 times a day. We need a special space for that. We're the victims. We need to be able to practice our constitutional rights. And all that.
Like it says that they use Western liberalism,
Correct,
and act
against
as a victim.
Yeah, they use it against itself. So then scrolling down to the next one. So 2 to 5%, the population crosses the 2% threshold, a noticeable change occurs. Advocacy groups emerge, right? Like the Muslim Brotherhood, the Islamic Center for Care. Yeah.
Center for American and Islamic Relations.
Yeah. Demands are no longer requested, but framed as civil rights. Halal food in schools and hospitals, Islamic prayer rooms and public buildings, gender segregated swim times, etc. Right. At this stage, Sharia compliant accommodations are requested not just in private religious life, but in public institutions. Right. Then going down, once they get to 5 to 10%. Once they get to that point, Muslim communities transition from integration to parallelism. No-go zones begin to form, like in Malmo, Sweden, right? Urban enclaves where state law is either ignored or actively resisted, like Dearborn, Michigan.
Yep.
Okay. Police avoid intervention, and informal Sharia enforcement takes hold. We also see this with China. China has police departments throughout the United States that we just allow to operate for some reason. I don't know why. So we're seeing a little bit of a takeover of our municipal police forces, either through passive non-enforcement or through acceptance. Okay. This stage also sees increasing legal jihad, efforts to redefine blasphemy laws, criminalize criticism of Islam, and so forth. Y'all see some parallels here with another small hat community that we know, right? More than 80 Sharia courts operate unofficially in the UK, right? And then it goes into in Sweden, what's going on there. Tim Pool tried to do a good report on Malmo, Sweden, tried to go there and say there wasn't anything as no-go zones, but then he ends up saying there's a bunch of places I wasn't allowed to go because the Muslims wouldn't let me. That's a no-go zone, brother. Like, what do you mean? There's no no-go zones there. All right, so go down 10% beyond. This is when it starts getting hairy. At this point, Muslim communities cease to be a subculture and become a rival culture. Integration is abandoned for Islamization. Political parties with explicit Islamic agendas arise. Muslim representatives in parliaments begin defending jihadist regimes and condemning Western foreign policy. This is where we're at. We're at this point now. And it's much worse in some areas of the country than others. All right. New York, Dearborn, portions of Texas, and so forth.
Minneapolis.
Once Muslims get to a certain percentage in the population, they start requiring you to adhere to their ideals. And then jihad starts, usually around 30%. They hit about 30%, and then the violence comes. And it's blatant, open violence, and they just dare anybody to do anything about it, which is how Islam has spread itself throughout the world. The earlier comment said, the religion of peace, in a tongue-in-cheek, I get that. But we have to understand, they don't define peace the way we do, right? We are trying to superimpose a Western ideal of peace on a Middle Eastern desert Bedouin tribe. Exactly. They don't have the same definitions. Their definition of peace is submit to Islam for peace. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, there's no such thing as religion with peace. Islam means submission, right? That's exactly. Islam is not a religion. It is a geopolitical system with a slight delineation towards some type of faith practice. Okay. Most of the Quran, although it is the book of Islam, is not where they get most of their teachings. Most of their teachings come from the surahs and hadith. Mm-hmm. Right. it's not from it's like the same thing with the Jews and the Talmud. The Talmud's like 50 something volumes, right? It's not just the Old Testament, basically. Right? That's not what they go by. They go by mostly the Talmud. And so we have to understand that we cannot impose our ideals of things on a entirely foreign culture. One of the things that I had the hardest time with in Afghanistan was determining when they lie, because me being a kafir, like basically a infidel,
Yeah.
right? They have no qualms. There's no shame associated with lying to me, right? So there's none of those physical cues when somebody lies for them. Not only that, but they're so good at lying that it would be hard to detect anyway. I would have to have an interpreter that I trusted really well to tell me he's lying, like, because they can pick it up. I can't pick it up as a Westerner at
Right.
all. And that was the hardest thing for me, because my whole job was determining when someone was lying and making sure they're telling me the right information. So we have to stop trying to impose our ideals and our framework on this culture, because we can't do it. We have to use information from other people that have lived that culture to tell us, like, this is what this is how this works. This is what this means. This is what they mean when they say this, and we have to use that as reference points, because we're trying to read Braille at this point without any fingertips. Like, we don't know how to do it. Like, it just can't be done. We don't have the capacity for the sensory to be able to do that. Right. Yes, the lying is gay, Paul. Super gay. Because Islam is super gay. As
So
Rob was talking about with Anthony the other night, when Anthony found out that Vlad the Impaler was a real person, the Turkish disease was a real issue, and it still is.
Yeah.
It still is an issue even today. It doesn't matter if it's Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Qatar, UAE. It doesn't matter. Iran, it's still an issue everywhere. It is wholly accepted. They just don't talk about it. They can't read. They write from the right to left. They cook smelly goats and they lie all the time. And we give them billions of dollars because why now? Look, we're not talking about Israel. All right. We're talking about Islam at this point. Right.
We're not talking about India either, Paul.
It's amazing how many similarities there are with Islam and rabbinic Judaism.
So the Bedouin, right, at the time of Muhammad, there was a sect of Judaism down in like the area that is now Yemen, I think, right in the south. What would that be? The southwest corner of the Saudi peninsula there. So there was a sect of Judaism that they would have had contact with. They also would have had some contact with Christianity. So you end up with Islam, which is this weird mix of the Bedouin tribal religion with Christianity with Judaism. It's
Robert Spencer.
Yeah.
Robert Spencer, not Richard Spencer. Robert Spencer, who does jihadwatch.org. And he's written countless books like The Complete Infidel's Guide to the Quran and some other things. But he gave a talk basically going over how Muslims read the Quran. I almost said the Bible. Muslims read the Quran. And there's what do they call it? Secessionism, something like that. Basically, what happens later in the Quran supersedes what happened earlier.
Yes.
Okay. So earlier in the Quran, when you're reading it, it's basically Buddha that worships the moon, right? And then it's very peaceful, whatever. And then as it goes, as Muhammad finds out he's not getting very many people converting to his religion, he starts doing it by the sword. And then the Quran gets more and more violent towards the end. So that is how Muslims read the Quran, is what happens later basically overrides what happened earlier in the Quran. Exactly. It starts with an A, the term he used. I can't remember the name of it. But yes, White Knight, they use rocks. And we built a police training facility in, I think it was Lashkar. And it was like a multi-million-dollar police training facility, had a really nice bathrooms and everything. And they destroyed it, the bathrooms, within a week because they were all flushing their rocks down the toilets, and it was destroying them. Right. With it, when I was at
that point, we should have been like, you know what, this isn't gonna work. We're out.
When I was in Marja, a corner of the city hall compound was kind of like a barn type thing that was made out of mud and their poop walls and all that.
Yeah.
And it had no light to it, but if you looked in there, you would see these little mounds all over the place and a little piece of toilet paper sticking out of them like a flag. Because that was the first time they've ever been introduced to toilet paper. They thought you're supposed to use it as a flag to say where you pooped. So that entire room is just full of feces everywhere.
The poop flags.
Mm-hmm. And us like trying to instruct them it's like trying to instruct somebody how to use the 3 shells from Demolition Man, right? They're just like, I just don't get it. Like, what do you mean 3 shells? Toilet paper. What do you mean? I'm supposed to use my hand to what? Yes, brother. You're supposed to use toilet paper. What are you doing? All right.
Wow.
Man, we're 40 minutes in. We're ahead of schedule. Good.
Yeah,
right,
we're doing well.
Not bad. So let's go to the 10K death unit members here link, and we'll go over this quick because I've already gone over it, but I want y'all to see it. This is a post on X, basically where the Department of Defense, War, whatever they call themselves now, is admitting that of the 81,000, about 10,000 members of that 81,000 was these 0 units, right? So there's 9,900 more of these guys running around, right? That have this training, that now have access to firearms in the United States because Americans, we love our firearms. So this is much more likely to happen again. If even 10% of them, let's not even say that, say 1% of them got radicalized, that's 100
of them,
right? Things are going to get real bad here real soon if something isn't done. All right, so go on to the next one. Let's go to the border crossings link. Aren't y'all glad I provide y'all with all this documentation? Like, I could just sit up here and just like spout a bunch of stuff. About 50% of y'all would believe me, right? The other 50% be like, I don't know. But I provide you with all this documentation so y'all understand where this is coming from, right? These are news reports that come out from people who don't, it isn't in their best interest.
So this is the New Orleans one, right?
So this is the, yes. This is New Orleans.
This is
That's
New
the trust
Orleans.
when he ran over. He
So
came
January
through
1st.
Right. He came through 2 days prior, was able to get access to a vehicle. And then, so, which tells us a few things. One, it tells us that he has a support network as soon as he got here. If he went through Eagle Pass and got to New Orleans and within 2
And it was
days
a rental
got
vehicle, right?
And so again, so how did he rent the vehicle? Because he doesn't have the documentation to do it.
Right.
He probably didn't have access to the funds to do it, or at least the access to use the funds to do it, right? Because you need a credit card. You can't just give them cash. They're not going to rent you a car with cash. So someone had to have a support network to get here, get a vehicle, and then be told where to go and what to do. Okay. So this is, how many times have these people come across the border over the last 5 years? This year, probably not as much. Okay. But 4 years prior to that, when the Biden admin was just, we let in 20 million people over 4 years, at least, because they were shipping them in, not just through the border.
Mm-hmm.
They were bringing them in from other countries on plane and dropping them in, Sylacauga, Alabama, right? All kinds of places. Toledo, Ohio. They're cats. We already discussed that.
We went over that at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next one. The next two, actually. You will soon know who I am. The first one is the video. The second one is who this guy likely is. So I don't know if y'all remember this story. Back during the Biden admin, this guy was videotaped coming across the border, and he's just basically threatening people, saying, "You will soon know who I am."
Okay. If this is loud to you guys, let me know.
By the way, if you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys.
You
Wow.
will see soon. Please, by the way.
All right.
Okay.
So then show the next link. This is likely who this guy is. I just pull up the picture. Yep. All right. And go right on this one. Click the right arrow. Yep. All right. They've released 2023. He's Shia. Right. Nature of charges: arms trafficking, illicit use of weapons, criminal premeditation, conspiracy, terrorism, treason, and sedition, and unlawful disobedience.
So he was detained in January of 2011, sentenced October of 2011,
Mm-hmm.
released in 23, and then he just came back into the country a year ago.
He wasn't imprisoned here.
Oh wait, this isn't Azerbaijan. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So then let's see that video. I'm trying to remember what the original date of that video. I'm pretty sure it was mid 24. I think it was summer of 24. So within 6 months, he's in the country. Okay. We know that Iran has multiple cells throughout the United States. By multiple, I mean probably hundreds, likely hundreds. And that's just Iran. And this man is Shia, which is Iran. Iran, northern Iraq is Shia.
Well, and also like Azerbaijan is actually funded and armed by Israel too in their recent war against Armenia.
Yeah. All right. So this is a man who is trained in trafficking terms, organization. Right. This is not a guy that's going to do the shooting. This is a guy who's going to get the guy that shoot to him, give them what they need, wind them up like a toy, and point them in the direction. Right. We're probably going to start seeing more suicide bombs, I would suspect, here soon, because they're able to get a whole lot more deaths than with shooting.
Yeah.
You're more likely going to see that in more rural areas, or at least the outskirts of urban areas, because it's easier to build those things in rural areas than it is in cities. But it's much easier to get access to firearms and munitions to just shoot, which is where a lot of these TTPs, these tactics, techniques and protocols are going now. Is just to create mass panic through just mass shootings. The issue is mass shootings don't have the glory of being shown on the TV like an explosion would.
Right.
So I could see them going back to suicide bombings and such. All right. So these next two videos, I apologize. One of them's from Lila. But this is going over taqiyya.
You should apologize for that.
I apologize in advance. And this is going over the I don't want to call it a doctrine, but it's kind of a doctrine in Islam.
Practice.
Yeah, it's a practice in Islam. Taqiyya is. I'll just show you the video. I'll let them explain, because you'll hear it from Muslims more than you will from me.
Okay, let me get it ready here.
There's something in Islam called taqiyya. Can you talk about what that is?
Yeah, so taqiyya is so again, I came from a Sunni background and I hadn't even heard of it as a concept, but apparently in Shia Islam, it's more of a bigger deal. But again, it exists in both. It's in the Sharia manuals. Essentially, to just in a nutshell, it's giving you permissibility to lie in order to further propagate the cause of Islam. So essentially, in order to make Islam look good or to, keep its PR in check, if you will, you're allowed to bend the truth, and you're allowed to hide and mask your identity and your real intentions and your real objectives in order to further Islam in any way.
In any way, so there's no moralistic boundaries to that.
Not that I'm aware of. If the end goal is that it will further Islam in any way that's positive, that's anything is okay.
Okay, and if anyone would like to follow you on.
Okay, so that's that one.
Mm-hmm. Y'all might recognize this second guest. He was on with Matt Fradd as well before this, but he's a little bit more free with his conversation with Lila than he was with Matt Fradd.
So lying is not always a sin in Islam. Being deceptive is good. And again, Allah is khayr makirin. He is the great deceiver. So you're allowed to be deceptive. God is not just good, he's also bad. So, and that's what I believe is happening in New York.
Really?
So,
You think you think Mamdani is practicing taqiyya?
1,000%. 1,000%.
He's presenting
the
as
Muslims are laughing at you guys. Like this is the funniest thing. Like, dude, give it 50.
First off, if Gideon Lazar gained about 75 pounds, it was Tanner, he would look just like this guy.
And had a lazy eye.
That too, yes.
50 more years, entire New York's gonna be Muslim, and then before you know, it's gonna be Sharia courts, and then like y'all are. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. Like I can't even believe. And like you see Europe, you look at Europe, it's happening right now, and then you're like, oh, let's just do it here in New York. Like it's like no, like you have to stop. Like obviously taqiyya is working, and they're doing an amazing job at it, and they're fooling everyone. Like, and all the Muslims are like so happy that's happening. Like this is the best thing that could happen in Islam, and he's gonna win because we're too stupid. Like no matter how many times ex-Muslims will say taqiyya is a real thing, they are lying to you. They will take over within 100 years. No one's gonna listen because we just assume that our God is the same as their God. We just assume that their God will tell them not to lie, but their God tells them to lie. That's the difference.
But are you could it be that someone like a Mamdani, he's Muslim, he's a practicing Muslim, self-professed?
So lying is not always a sin in Islam. Being deceptive.
So keep in mind that when you're talking to a Muslim, if you're not Muslim, and they'll know, they can tell you, even if you're a white and a Muslim, right? There's cues, like there's usually greetings they give, that they just go through with each other, see each other. They're more than likely lying to you about everything because they don't need to be honest with you.
You know what was the most egregious thing in that clip by Leela?
What?
They spent $9 million on podcast production. They used the same crappy program I used to make clips.
This comment's weird because you spelled conqueror wrong. Like I don't know what dictionary you use, but that's not how we spell conqueror. Right? So that's weird. Might want to get your spell check, like recalibrated. So I bring all that because this is who we're dealing with. This is the culture we're dealing with, and y'all need to be aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to touch on briefly, but I want this to be its own show. So on the notes, it says ISIS survival in the West. There's a link there. Hopefully you can open it. It's my Google Drive.
Hold on, give me a second.
If not, I can open on my end and I'll just share it.
Yep, I got it.
Okay. So this is a guide that was found amongst some jihadis, and it was translated to English so we can read it. and basically this is their guide they give to anybody who comes to the West, whether it's America or Britain or wherever. It doesn't matter, right? So let's go down. Let's see, go down to page. Well, actually, let's just go to table of contents. So
Bro,
you
am
can
I
see what
going to
this-
be on another list for even having this book now?
brother? If you aren't on like 10 lists, you're.
I know.
failing in
That's what
life.
I'm saying. I don't need to be on an 11th list.
So just going down the table of contents, chapter 1, hiding the extremist identity. 2, breaking allegiance. 3, earning money. 4, internet privacy. 5, training. 6, primitive weapons. And then survival techniques. Modern weapons. Bee making. I'm pretty sure that word I can't use. Transporting weapons. What happens when you are spied on and get raided? Right. Then the jihad begins, escaping for safety, and so forth. This is basically it's basically a quick 70-page guide on how they are to operate when they're here. Right. If you go to page, I should have highlighted this earlier. Where is it? I want to say page 8. All right. And so it goes through chapter 1, hiding the extremist identity. Right. It basically telling you to hide your radicalization and, where you're at in the spectrum of being a Muslim convert, born, if you're practicing, to the women there. And then it goes into disguises and such like that. Right. So we're going to go over this much more in detail next time, and we'll go over every chapter. Right. I think this needs to be its own show, because this is a manual that was confiscated and has been used up to that point, and it's still being in variations, still being used now.
Right.
And this is basically just giving you a version that's much more what's the word, precise, right, and much more. I don't know who the author of it is, Paul. I don't think that was ever released, but this was found during the height of ISIS. It was making they found copies of this all over the place in a lot of these safe houses and such. Like I said, we'll go over this a lot next time as well, just to show like how they operate here. But
I like how oh,
what is this? Brother, we're both married with kids, right?
yeah, like many kids.
Like we probably have 10, close to. Well, you have what, 3 or 4 now?
4. How many you got?
4. I got 4. We're up to 8 between the two.
Yeah,
of
we
us.
almost got a baseball team.
Yeah,
One of us steps in as designated hitter.
we've got a basketball team with reserves. We're good.
We got a hockey team. I can't skate though.
I can't either. My kids wanted to go skating this weekend. Ice skating. We have a Chris Kindlemark up here, down here in Alabama. It's like a German Christmas market in a town here in Alabama, and they do ice skating every year. And the kids are always like, "Dad, you want to go ice skating with me?" No, I don't.
I can skate in a straight line really well. Turning, not great. Stopping, can't do.
The stopping. The
I
wall
just
is there
hit
to
the
stop
wall.
me.
Yeah, I just
the
basically
wall.
go in straight lines for
Yeah.
on a rink.
So I just want to kind of give you all an overview of some documentation to back up these things, as well as an understanding of what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we have even 1 million Muslims in the United States who are radicalized, which if we go by the Pew study that was done 10 years ago of how many Muslims worldwide who would love to live under Sharia law, it was like 70% of them. Right. So if 70% of I think we have 25 million Muslims in America now, right? You're looking at 14 million of them willing to do what needs to be done to live under Sharia law. So just understand where we're at. You know, things are bad now. Just don't worry; they're going to get worse. And that's the whole purpose of this whole show, is to provide the community and the information for y'all to be able to do something about it.
Mhm.
This guy's funny. The dumbos outbreed the smartos for you dum-dums. Is that the Easter Island head in The Night at the Museum? Is that who this guy is?
I don't-
Did you ever see that movie?
I've seen Night at the
Dum-dum.
Museum. I've never seen
Dum-dum.
Idiocracy though. It seemed idiotic.
I watched
to
it
be
when I was in
honest.
the Marines. It's okay. It's funny. But it's one of those movies you used to watch before we had memes.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't
true.
really watch those movies anymore. Like that's why
like
what's his name?
Borat.
Yeah, like Borat and all that, and like Napoleon Dynamite. Like they're just not funny anymore. Now we have memes.
We can scroll
Right, they're
Instagram
just-
for memes.
Yeah,
And
that's what we'll do.
Erica. Lots and
Yeah.
lots of renditions of Erica over and over on repeat.
It is the government, and it is slightly religious. Right. What's his name? What's the guy that Kennedy Hall used to watch a lot? Used to talk about Islam all the time.
I know who you're talking about.
Had
Oh
a really
gosh.
weird
I
name.
had his name on my mind earlier in the episode.
He's a real huge Semiphiliac. Like he loves the Jews.
Does he?
Loves them. I think that's why he hates Islam so much, because he loves the Jews so much. But basically, his hypothesis was that Islam is basically just a revamped moon worshiping cult.
Yeah. Exactly, Paul. That South African guy, I don't remember his
Yeah,
name.
that South African guy. Not Keenan
What
Hooper,
is
the
his
other one.
name? It starts with a J. Right?
It does start with a J.
No, that's an Irish guy.
Not Javin McGinnis.
Gavin McGinnis. Yes, Gavin McGinnis does love the Jews. You're right.
He does love the Jews. I don't understand that. Even after he had a Jew basically side against him with the Muslims, like he still loves them. I don't get it. What's his name? Starts to go. Oh, that's gonna kill me now. You're so close. It's on the tip of your tongue. Let's see. Islam moon cult. Let me find that. Where is it? Where are
you? Lloyd de Jong.
Lloyd de Jong. So close. Started with a J.
Okay, but de Jong, I guess I was thinking about Jong.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
exactly what you're
dangerously
thinking about.
close to thinking about dog.
All right. So that's it on that topic. If something else comes up, I'll talk about it. But I want to go over December's competition.
Okay.
All right. So you're going to need a timer, right? You can use a phone. You can use your pack timer, whatever you want to use. We're going to do the bill drill at 5 yards, 6 shots, 5 yards. It doesn't have to be from the holster. You're probably going to want it initially in the holster,
So
because you're going to start out with 5 push-ups first. You're going to do 5 push-ups, stand up, bill drill, 6 shots in the A zone from 5 yards. Because the bill drill can be between 3 and 7 yards. We're going to do 5. We're going to do right now. 5 is pretty close.
We're going to do if we're not going to do in the holster, we can do what? Low ready.
You can do a little ready. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to stage it on a barrel, do your 5 push-ups, get up, grab it, shoot. I'm okay with that. Because some people, this is going to be restricted by some people's access to a range and what they allow them to do.
Oh, true. Yeah,
So if you
like
have a
indoor
table-
ranges usually don't allow from the holster all the time.
Correct. So if you have a table, put it on the table, 5 push-ups, get up, 6 rounds, right? Time limit on this is going to be 10 seconds. Right? We're going to use hit factor again. And I'll post this on the Telegram chat, but the time limit is going to be 10 seconds. You can pump out 5 push-ups, get up, and shoot 6 rounds in like 2 seconds. You can do it. I promise you.
Yeah.
Right? And you might need to do it a few times. If you have to end up doing 50 push-ups in a day to get it done, you're welcome. Right? But That's what we're doing for this month. So anybody should be able to do this. You can do this in indoor range. You can do it outdoor range. Make sure you record it though. It has to be recorded. No cutting of the film. Use hit factor to report your hits. And same thing. Whoever wins in December, I'm going to buy you your favorite Avoiding Babylon t-shirt, mug, or autographed item from Rob.
Autographed?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we got to ship it to me first so I can autograph it.
That's fine. We can do that. No problem. We're going to do pistol, Paul. I don't want to focus on rifles yet. I want guys, because a pistol is most likely what anybody's going to use in a self-defense situation. So I want to focus on pistols because of that. And get some of these guys
and
who
for
don't
anyone
have
who
any-
doesn't have guns, we want them to get a pistol first.
Yes. Yeah, that's the first thing you need to get. Even if it's a Glock V, get one. And I'll post this in the Telegram chat. If y'all aren't in the Telegram, get in there. We've got a lot of good information with a lot of deals going on right now, especially with Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all that. Just make sure you've got Black Friday money to be able to do that. Do not go into debt for anything, please. There's no reason to go into debt for any of this stuff. Just save up, and maybe next, if you're wanting to get that, the PBS 14 that you've been wanting this entire time and you don't have the money for it, save up for next Black Friday and get it then.
Yeah, I am worried about that. You're right.
Rob, you can sign it with your left hand, so it's all like janky.
All janky, yeah. I was in a gun shop on Black Friday. They had I know it's a controversial weapon. People love it or hate it, but they had a SCAR 5.56.
Were you looking at the 16 or 17?
Well, I think they
17
technically call it the 15 now. But
Is the
15
new one?
No. I was looking at the 5.56.
The 5.56 16, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
But
I didn't buy it because it was still $3,500.
Yeah, and they're not good.
No, Paul, I didn't buy it.
They're not good.
Well,
I don't understand.
They're not bad, but they're not $3,500 good.
If you could get it for $1,500, I might think about it. But the issue, like anybody I've known that was issued it, hated it. We've got a guy down here who's running for Senate right now, Jed something. He was in the SEALs team. He was on Ryan.
Typical Alabama name right there.
Sean Ryan's show. And what?
Jed.
Wait, look, he's Protestant. That's what they do down there.
That's what they do.
He's probably got kids with different variations of the name Caitlin or Kaylin or Balin or Jalen. And, his wife wears like a white sundress all the time with, cowboy boots, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But he was on the Sean Ryan show. And I had a conversation with him in person one time because he was doing he was running for governor, or no, he's running for sheriff in Jefferson County where Birmingham's located. And I was talking to him and we were talking about the SCAR, and he's like the SCAR was like a sub 4 MOA gun. He's like, you're within 4 MOA. You're doing good. Like, man,
oh my gosh.
Horrible. Like, I've got pistols that do better than that.
Or yeah.
Jed. God, what was his name? Jed something. Not find it.
Jed or Jeb?
Hold on. Jed running for senator in Alabama. Jared. I was way off.
You got 3 of the 5 letters.
I'm so bad with names. So bad. I'm good with faces though. Good with faces. He's a good dude though. He's a real good dude. He serves on the Blount County, which is just north of Birmingham, SWAT team as well. They do like a lot of. He was on scene when those creepos got found with that child trafficking farm in Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Late in the early fall.
That's right.
He was on scene for that. He's a good dude though. I'd vote for him for governor. I wouldn't vote for him over Tommy Tuberville, but I'd vote for him. But I think he's running for Senate, not governor. I'm all jacked up. Don't listen to me. Look, I've had a long weekend, man. I'm
Oh, I
fishing like
know.
I'm fishing things out of the toilet before I come on the show. I've had a long day at work. I've had like a bunch of meetings today, having to talk all day. I'm kind of talked out. Didn't really want to come on tonight, but I came on anyway, and now I enjoy it. This weekend was crazy with like Friday. I took everybody to go get our Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Because I waited because we don't decorate before Christmas, not Christmas decorations anyway. And so like we would put up garland. We've got the Advent wreath out because I've made it a point since my wife has converted and with, like all the kids, we take the faith seriously in the house. We don't celebrate Christmas before Christmas. I don't want to be burnt out on Christmas before we get to Christmas. So we're trying to really celebrate Advent. But last year when I did this, I waited till like a week before Christmas to get my Christmas tree, and I got the Charlie Brown Christmas tree because that was all that was left. Right? It was like dead, leaning over. It looked like the Grinch had just returned it. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
So I had to get it this year, the day after Thanksgiving. Go ahead and get one. We have a Christmas tree farm down here. Went down, cut my own. Right. Next time I'm gonna take a chainsaw because those saws are sharp, but man, those trees are made of iron. It took me forever to cut that thing down. But we did that. And they have like a hayride, and they have a carriage ride and all that, and the kids were loving that. So we spent all day Friday doing that. Saturday we go to that Christmas market, and then that night was the Auburn Alabama Iron Bowl, which I'm an Auburn fan, so that was a rough game for me. And then Sunday morning we wake up, go to early mass. So we're at, I'm driving 45 minutes to mass there by 7:30 because we went the day. And now I'm just like wore out, man. Like I'm acting like I'm 25 years old trying to do all this stuff, not realizing like, I'm halfway to 50 at this point in the 40s, or just about anyway. I'm almost there. Like, what am I doing? This is why you need to have kids when you're young.
It is.
Have them in your 20s. You can do this a whole lot easier.
Yeah, we traveled for Thanksgiving, 4 hours down to the Minneapolis, St. Paul, and stayed in a hotel for 4 nights. I don't know if it was the bed they had in that hotel or just.
I never sleep good in hotels.
No,
Never.
it was. I'm so exhausted.
Yeah. So why not? We're doing so. Our Christmas tree is a Jesse tree until Christmas Eve, and then we decorate at Christmas Eve. Man, this year wasn't bad. So I've got one brother-in-law who's not allowed to come to our house. Right. So I've got a brother-in-law who has 3 children from 2 different women. One of them is not even his. He adopted this kid. Last year, I think it was last year, he had an accident at work, and he's like a diesel mechanic type thing, and he had a piece of equipment almost cut him in half. His girlfriend at the time, while he's in the hospital recovering from death, stole his car and emptied his bank account.
What?
Yeah, and ran off with another dude. He took her back, got her pregnant, had the 3rd kid with her. She decided a couple months after having the baby, she doesn't want to be a mom anymore and took off. Like, I don't need you around my house. Right. I probably would let him come over, but I know he would bring a new girl around. I'm like, no, I'm not having that.
No.
No, I can't allow it. Like it's amazing to me how much of my family I just can't be around because I don't want them corrupting my kids. Like I can deal with them fine. If it's just me and my wife, we're fine. But I don't want them corrupting my kids. The Satanist Wicca niece-in-law.
Better behavior. That's good.
She only played with the Ouija board for 30 minutes instead of an hour this time.
I brought requisite wine to Thanksgiving.
I'm proud of you pronouncing it correctly.
What?
So I'm proud of you for pronouncing that correctly.
Thank you. And as I go to open it, my cousin's husband is like, hold on, I have a opener for this. I'm like, what? You have a what for this? A opener. He runs to dig in a drawer, comes back, and when they'd gone to the Vatican sometime in the last 10 years, and they got a wine corkscrew that had Pope Francis on the top.
What? So here's my question: is that blasphemy? If it's not, where can I buy one?
I mean, they got it at the Vatican, the official Vatican gift shop. Now, I mean, we all know
Did
blasphemy
Pope
is
Francis
not
have to
beyond the
sign off on
Vatican.
that? Like, do you think that like they came to him like, "Hey, we're going to be selling this. It's a Popener. Can you sign off that we're allowed to use your image and likeness for this?"
Well, if
He's like,
the
"Hey,
young
I
Pope
screw people all
showed,
the time. I might as well screw some wine."
if the young Pope show is to be believed as accurate, then yes, he would have had to sign off on it. Did you ever
Look,
watch that?
that's a documentary. That's not a show.
Yeah. Yeah, not it's not blasphemy for Pope Francis. It would be for St. Pius X. I did not get a picture. I'm sorry.
Like, so what about one of like the pornocracy popes? That'd be appropriate to make them a
Yeah.
Popener.
Yeah.
You know? That'd be amazing.
Now I'm gonna have to look up Pope corkscrew.
That's so good.
Oh,
Man.
okay. So this wasn't it exactly, but if this website, hold on, let me share this. Look, they have them for bottle caps.
But is that John Paul II?
Yep. Purchased
Man.
that. So
The
the original
Popener.
was 2004.
Oh man. Could you imagine getting one of these like as a third class relic of the Pope?
Oh my gosh. Us Catholics, we love drinking so much. We will put
We have blessings for beer.
We will put the Vicar of Christ on an item to open a beer bottle.
Yeah. Look, you know, as has been going over social media lately, you can't properly worship God without alcohol.
That's very true. Make sure family members put religious items on their Christmas wish list. Starts with Julie's Tacky Treasures. That is what that website was, by the way. At least the website's self-aware.
I'm just imagining a show is like, is this blasphemy? And then like, bringing up examples like, I don't know.
Is holy crap blasphemy?
Is holy crap blasphemy?
Yeah, that phrase. I think if you're calling something holy crap, then that's blasphemy. But if you just
say it like out of reaction, holy
right.
crap, is it blasphemy? Well, let's say this. If it is blasphemy, is it a venial sin? Like, what's the grave matter?
Blasphemy is grave matter, right? So
right, but you're not doing it to be blasphemous.
Right,
you're not making the decision to be blasphemous.
So it is grave matter, but do the other two conditions of mortal sin apply? Like, are you doing it with full knowledge, and are you doing it like with full what's the word? Consent, right? Yeah. So if it's truly a habit, then you're it's probably you don't need full knowledge and full consent.
Holy guacamole, is that blasphemy? I mean, food could be set aside as holy.
True. All I know is, do you know what avocados meant in the Mayan language?
The word avocado?
Yeah.
What?
Testicle. Because that's what they kind of look like.
I love avocados.
You love. Yep.
I love the avocados. The little green men testicles. Did you ever have a restaurant growing up called Chi-Chi's?
I've heard of it. Like we never had one nearby us, I don't think, but I've heard of it.
No. We had one growing up, and there was an urban legend going around. The reason they closed is because Chi-Chi's was a Spanish slang word for little member.
Ah,
And so it didn't take off very much because of
didn't
that.
do well. Well, definitely
Yeah.
didn't do well with the Spanish speaking crowd, right?
No, not at all. They didn't. But I mean, let's be honest. Spanish people aren't going to any American Mexican restaurants, right? If you
Very
want a good Mexican restaurant, you find out where all the Mexicans go.
Yeah. So down in the Twin Cities, we have the west side of St. Paul is all Hispanic, and every street corner has at least one mercado, which is like market, and each little mercado has like a deli that sells the most amazing tamales and all that stuff.
Across the street from the Gwinnett County Fire school. Well, I'm blanking right now. Anyway, there's a gas station, and in that gas station was a little Mexican restaurant. Best burritos I've ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I first started going there because I started noticing there was a bunch of Mexicans going in there all the time getting food, and I was like, so I went in there and man, best burritos I've ever had in my life. That was the first time I got introduced to what we now know as street tacos, like the corn tortillas instead of the flour tortillas.
Yep.
Man, it was so good.
Dude, yeah, I love little street tacos, especially lingua. I don't know if you're a fan of lingua.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good
stuff. If I can eat half fertilized duck egg, like I'm pretty much open to anything.
Oh, that's right. Was that when you were in Okinawa?
Yeah, my staff sergeant's wife made it.
No.
Yeah, we've got a Cajun restaurant opening up here because we're not far from Louisiana, and they do boudin, and it's so good.
I've always wanted to try it. Freeman. That's because you're just too plain white, man.
I know.
Look at
this
too
guy.
Gringo.
Taco Bell's the extent of his Mexican delicacy.
On I think it was Friday or Saturday, I forget which. I'd let Maddie, my 6-year-old, my oldest, decide where he wanted to go to eat, wherever he wanted. Last time I gave him that opportunity, he decided to go to Benihana's, and it was the most expensive dinner I've ever paid for. So I was really hoping he wasn't going to choose that again. But he chose a Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh yeah.
And he loved, the little card. He just kept his card green. And next thing you know, he's got a plate just covered in meat. I'm like, you turn that red and you eat that all before you get another piece.
Yeah. I took my wife there a few years ago for our anniversary, and I made sure I went and worked out that morning. I did a run that morning. Made sure not to eat the whole day. I was like, I'm going to get my money out of this place. Because it's like $150 for 2 people to go there. Between drinks and tip and everything, you're dropping some money. Like, I'm gonna get my money out of this place. But man, I didn't turn my card to red the entire time. Just keep bringing it. I didn't go to the salad bar. I didn't go to the sides bar. You don't touch that stuff. That's not what you're there for.
Well, I know, but the problem is that stuff is really good though. Like
it is good.
The black bean and pork stew that you put over the rice. I'd pay $30 for unlimited.
But that's not what I'm there for. If
know.
I'm not leaving the Brazilian steakhouse with the meat sweats and cramps because I need to take a crap, like I've failed my mission.
On the way there, Hope goes, Operation Meat Sweats. And Maddie's like, what does that mean? And we're like, well, you'll see.
So worth it, man. It's so good. I need to go there again.
Street tacos are Mexican taqiyya. I mean, not sure how that works necessarily, but
taco
like
taqiyya.
That's how they infiltrate us with the street tacos.
Man.
No, Paul, it wasn't Fogo. It was another one.
Yeah. So I've got quite a few clients who are illegal here in the United States. And I've been talking to them the past couple of months. Like, we're trying to get an idea of the pulse, my finger on the pulse of what's going on. And they are scared to death And a lot of them, and we like Alabama, like we've got a lot of Hispanics here, a lot of Mexicans, especially illegal Mexicans. But I just don't see them getting rounded up very much. But they're
Yeah.
like, if you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, you're gone, right? And so they're all scared to death. And like I'm kind of caught in the middle because like a lot of these guys are good family men, and they've been here for 20 years. They just never got their citizenship like they should have. So I keep telling like, man, what are you doing? Like he's like, well, I gotta go back to Mexico in order to apply to be able to come in. It might be years. I'm like, brother, is that worth it? To be able to stay here? Why don't you do that? You know? And he's like, I don't know. So I'm kind of conflicted because I don't know any of these guys, and none of them are bad guys at all. Not now. I have met a couple of guys who are criminals, and I've told other guys like, y'all need to turn him in because if he's with y'all and he gets snatched up, they're taking y'all with him. Right, if they come after him, and so I just kind of keep an eye on what's going on around here, and even down here in Alabama, man, they're scared to death. We've got entire construction projects that are taking like twice to 3 times as long because they're not coming into work. You know, they're just
I believe it.
Up. And quite a few of them are like, well, what do I do if I get snatched up? And I'm like, hopefully you got enough money in savings your family can get by for a while until you can come back. The good thing with a lot of Mexicans is they can live on very little. And they've got a really good community that can help each other out. But man, I think I'm gonna have a bunch of guys that end up getting shipped back. So remittances, right, and sending money back is an issue. We do need to tax remittances, like a 50% tax at least. You don't get to send money back off the backs of taking wages away from American citizens, right? But a lot of my guys don't do that. They don't have anybody back there.
All their families here.
I do know some guys who do, right? But most of my guys that I talk to, especially like church or whatever, not in my parish, but other parishes around that I go to occasionally, when I talk to them, like they send lots of money back, like thousands of dollars a month.
Wow,
man, where are you living on over here?
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely a real thing. All right, let's see.
Corn
Do
is
you have any
loser
other
food.
notes?
That's how I know you're not from the Midwest.
Corn is loser. Have you ever had street corn?
Street corn is amazing.
Like, do you eat it on the cob or in the cup?
Most of the time I get it's in the cup.
You've never
But
had
I've also
on
got it on the
though?
cob. Yeah.
I like it on the cob a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I don't like the cup's okay. I think they overcharge for the cup. So I'm like, yeah. And I'm kind of Jewish that way. Let's see. What else do I want to go over?
I need a haircut. I'm looking.
You are looking quite svelte.
Real elder brotherish up there. But Paul, I know you say the cob makes you feel like it isn't GMO. Probably still GMO.
Yeah, you can't get non-GMO corn in the United States.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Do they even sell non-GMO seeds?
You cannot get, if you get non-GMO corn or organic corn, it has to come from outside the United States.
Ugh.
No one in the United States has non-GMO corn at all. It's just not possible, which is the biggest issue I've seen with, because we eat probably 80-20, 80% organic, 20%, because I still want to be able to go out to eat and stuff. And there's not a lot of organic, even still, like there's a restaurant called Organic Restaurants or something, and like Walmart's on it. I'm like, come on, man. Like, so they're apparently not vetting anybody. You can just put anything on this thing. Start seeing some chilies on there or something. But so we try to eat some Chi-Chis, some little member. So we try to eat 80-20. So when we eat at home, it's all organic. And when we go out to eat, that's the only time we really don't eat organic. Because I've got friends that eat only organic. And occasionally if they have to go out to eat, they're down for the count the rest of the day.
They're just done for.
They got like stomach cramps and all that. I'm like, man, I can't, like, I need to have a little bit of, tolerance for that stuff, because like there's occasionally, like if I'm traveling, I can't eat organic It's just not possible. I mean, like, unless I go to the grocery store and just eat like deli meat or something, you know. But if if I want to eat a warm meal, it's just not possible. So
Plus, you know, if the end of the world comes and you have to tuck into
Yeah.
those MREs, you don't want to die because you're not used to that crap.
really, if you're gonna die from anything from an MRE, it's gonna be from constipation. It's gonna break you out. And
Not enough
you're gonna
fiber
die
in
from the
those
blockage.
things.
Man. Yeah, the first so when I went to MCT was the first time that I didn't poop for 2 weeks.
What?
Because all we ate was tray rats and MREs, and I was so backed up. It was when that first poop, I was like gripping the sides, sweating, you know, trying to pass a baby.
Your heart, you're like, come on, you can make it hard. Don't give out on me.
No. It's just because all I ate was nothing but MREs for like 2 weeks. It was horrible. Like they're occasionally okay. So we started watching the Outdoor Boys. I've never watched the Outdoor Boys before,
When did
but
you
we started
start?
watching it with the kids, and they love it.
Yeah,
But
it's
they're
pretty
seeing this
good,
guy
isn't it?
eat some. Like it's funny to me is like a third of his videos is him just eating.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, gotta stop and eat something, and he's like making his meal and eating it. I'm like, brother, that's all you do. Like, when are you gonna get to work? Build this snow fort. That's what I'm here for. Quit eating.
I mean, though, to be fair, like in survival situations, like 90% of your time is figuring out what you're going to eat next, you know?
Yeah, how to get out of the weather and how to eat.
Yeah.
Is really all those things are about.
You
But it's
watch
been
the
fun.
ones where they like travel to like Taiwan and
I haven't
stuff
watched
like
it. So
that.
we watched one where they went to Florida and they like did like python hunting and stuff.
yeah. I saw that
We
one
watched
too.
that one. We watched the one where he built like the snow cave or whatever. That was fun. But apparently we've got like thousands of videos we can watch at this point. He's been doing
Which
it
is
for like 10
good
years.
since you're not making anymore, but
Yeah. So we've got quite a backlog to get through if they don't delete his channel for being a tutorial.
what?
He used to be a lawyer. He was like a CPA lawyer or something, wasn't he?
No, I think he still is a lawyer.
Is he?
He has his own
made
law
some
firm.
money from YouTube.
Oh,
He
for
had
sure.
to.
A traffic lawyer.
He's chasing ambulances in Virginia.
I know they're Mormon.
No, they're Mormon, really?
Yeah.
So he's
In
not even really
the
Christian?
videos where they travel to like Taiwan and other places on Sundays, they say they'll, you know, they go to church. So, but they don't tell you what or where or anything. But I did some research and they're Mormon.
That's sad. That's why he does all that traveling. That's why the CIA loves Mormons,
True.
because they're used to traveling. We watched the one where he went to Alaska to get the walrus skull and all that. My kids were thoroughly grossed out. It was awesome.
Might have to watch that one.
It was good. It was good. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much being active will cause you to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
I overdid it at the gym last week, and I've been having back problems ever since. I wanted to go to the gym today, but I was like, man, I'm gonna have to just do cardio or something. So, because my back's been killing me, which is a lingering issue from my time in the Marine Corps. 2 years ago, it was bad. Like I don't know if I had like a pinched nerve or whatever, but if I sat down for a little bit and when I went to get up, if my legs weren't straight, it would like pinch my nerve and it would be like I'm being stabbed in the back.
Oh.
Occasionally, just like
Yeah.
I would like lose my breath because it hurt so bad, and I'm like sweating because it hurt so bad. I haven't had that in a while, thank God. But
Yeah, the spasms you get those from time to time, and they're not fun.
I had one of those TENS units. Have you ever used a TENS unit?
Yeah.
Where it like just shocks you?
Yeah.
Continually?
You ever hook them up to the places they say not to see what happens? Like, okay, I realized. Wow, phrasing, wow. Like the neck. You're not supposed to hook them up to like your neck and stuff like that. And you do that, and also next thing you know, it's like your whole body's just.
I can see that. I can see that.
No, Taffy, don't.
We used to in the Marines. We used to see how long we could get tase each other for before somebody gave up. So you just those little 9-volt ones, you can buy.
Oh yeah.
You just like zap them. So we like whoever could hold on the longest. I think like 30 seconds was the longest somebody ever held on. And the only reason we stopped at 30 seconds is he crapped his pants. We had to stop. We were afraid. If you're losing bowel control, what else are you losing control of?
You know what? Yeah, you when you crap your pants, you win. You won that.
That's automatic. That's automatic. No one else even needs to play.
I recently bought some Palms, pepper spray,
Oh,
OC
okay, yeah.
spray, and
Yeah.
I'm so tempted to do it for the channel.
Not on live stream.
Why not on live stream?
Who are you gonna spray? A kid?
Well, either one of my kids would have to spray me, or someone would have to spray Anthony.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It'd be like a lost bet sort of thing.
That'd be awesome.
Or we
I've
both
got
do
bear
it.
spray. I'm not shooting myself with bear spray.
I think this is stronger. Well, probably as strong as bear spray. The strongest
Yes. The
concentration.
next time you and Anthony are together, you should say surprise. Bam! Hit him with it.
And as he's screaming, I'm like, do it for the LLC, Anthony. Suck it up.
That Trad LLC versus Trad Inc. comment. I'm outside milking my cow and I'm laughing so hard that I had to stop. My daughter's next to me. I'm trying to show her how to milk the cow, and she just sees me doubled over on the bench, laughing real hard. Like, Daddy, are you okay? Yeah, it's so funny. I was laughing so hard. Oh man.
It is funny.
All right, we got any questions? I think I'm gonna wrap this up early. What we got?
Anyone got anything?
Any anecdotes?
Anyone buy anything fun for Black Friday?
And I didn't spend no money.
I
wanted
bought
to,
Yeah, I didn't really.
but I just didn't. I got too much going on. Y'all need to be buying ammo though, man. These ammo deals are crazy. I sold 500 rounds of 5.56 for 30 cents a round.
Oof.
I don't think y'all understand how crazy that is. I haven't seen that since like mid-Trump years, like 8 years ago.
2018.
Let's see what's on old PSA. Let's see what they got some craziness in there. What's their Cyber Monday look like?
Same thing as their whole month of Black Friday.
Yeah, I know. Like, there's never. It's always like it's Black Friday every day over there. PSA.
Yep.
Just looking at some of these. Now I might get some of these mag extensions. Those would be fun. The PSA ones.
On what?
So they have
for
Glock +5 mag extensions.
Mm.
So it's for a 17 round mag, and I still got a few of those for my 17. But just those some +5s on there, because I use mag extensions because not for the extra capacity. I use it for the weight, right? So when I drop a mag, like the standard mags, they don't always drop free.
Yeah.
Right. So the weight of the mag extension will help pull it out. I saw tracers for sale. I saw like 500 tracers for sale. They're like 55 cents a piece. That's a killer deal. Because you're only going to throw like 3 in a mag. You'll do of 30 rounds, right? You'll do like 1 every 10 rounds. You'll put an incinerator round in so you know where you're shooting at. And this is mostly for, automatic rifle. So if you've got, one of those super safes or an FRT trigger or something, but let's see what else we got in here. They've still got a revolver for sale.
What?
They've got a 357 revolver for sale. It's for the Taylor's and Company for the polished, or is that white or polished? That looks white.
Someone on Twitter bought it for fun.
Was it any good?
I don't know. I didn't see
it. It looks like $330. You can't really go wrong.
That's true.
I mean, wait. I did see. Do you ever watch the Golden Web guy?
No.
He does like burn downs and sees it to see how fast, or how long most barrels and stuff can go. So I have a Q Sugar Weasel. I bought it a couple of years ago. It's,
How do you like it?
It's fine, right? I've had no issues with it. I have a LPVO on it, and it's what I used to use with my thermals. And the trigger's okay. I don't get the love for that trigger at all. It's okay. But apparently he did a burn down on it and on the Q Sugar Weasel, and the gas tube lasted like 200 rounds. Like, oh, that ain't good. So I was like, but I'm not going to be shooting that thing full auto, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. But
True.
it didn't give me a lot of faith in it if I needed to go to war with it.
The only lever actions I have are we have a Henry and 350, no, a Henry and 44 Magnum and a Henry and 30-30.
I have a Marlin in 30-30. That was my dad's. And that's my truck gun. Like I've got 30-30 soft points in it, which are fun. I don't know if you've ever shot a watermelon with a soft point, but
that one
is as close to explosives as you can get with a rifle round. But it's fun. But it holds like 5+1, I think. But I mean, you're punching through everything with that thing. That thing kicks. It's fun to shoot. But I got to get it polished so the lever action works better. It's just, but it's like it is what it is. Like it wasn't an expensive rifle, so I don't expect it to be phenomenal,
right?
Shooter or whatever. Nothing on Palmetto State really jumps out at me. Let's see who else. Did you see Hoplite come out with the
flashbang?
Yes,
I did.
Can we show that?
Yeah, it's not a firearm.
Let's see. What is this webpage called?
Hoplite. I don't know. I'm just gonna go to his Twitter.
Hoplite.
He said he'd come on with us sometime, by the way.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Okay, here I got it. Here.
I don't think anybody's ever really. Are they? So he's from New Zealand, but they have a subsidiary here in Texas, right?
Yes. Yep. And he's FSSP.
I know he's Catholic. I didn't know he's FSSP. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
One of us. What does it use? Because some of them use like a blank shotgun shell.
That's what this uses. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's a
Have you
10
seen those
gauge.
triple arms? A 10 gauge.
Yeah. So
That's
he if you use a normal a normal shotgun shell, apparently you might have to register it as an explosive device. But he said something like whatever shells they're sending that you can buy from them, they know won't qualify it as an explosive device.
I wonder what the difference is.
I don't know.
What was he selling for? I wonder what he's selling for.
Let me bring it up on his website. I think it was like almost 300, I think.
260. Yeah, 260.
And they're reusable.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad. That'd be fun. And then the shells, a pack of 6 are $29. 10 gauge short blanks. That might be a Christmas present for me.
Would be cool. Now,
Man,
I've never seen her use. What?
Could you imagine having to chase down that pen though? You're going to drop that thing.
Yeah.
Or like the spoon, right? Like I wonder if the spoon just stays on. I'd buy one.
I'd play with it for sure.
Yeah.
I've never used or seen the real thing in action. Like how
they're not fun.
What?
They're not fun.
I mean,
like
how
even
does
if
this
you're
look
outside
like
the
it
room,
compares?
you still get a little bit of it outside the room.
Yeah.
It's a bad day.
Did this look like it compared at all?
Would this thing compare to it? I doubt it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, this will still suck. Like, you're not gonna like with a real flashbang. Like, you're out of the fight disoriented for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
Like, it takes a while to get your bearings back because like all the concussive force that hits you and then the brightness, it's like it's bad. But this probably scare the crap out of you.
Well, like imagine a 10 gauge shotgun going off in the room would, right?
Yeah, and because because I've got some smoke grenades from Enola Gay, like for airsoft.
Yeah.
And they've got like a minute and a half burn time. So between smokes and flashbangs, man, you can do a lot of distraction operations and such. Man, like just imagine. So I have one of those. They call him Bob, right? It's like the stand-up punching guy. He's like rubber. He's on a stand. You ever seen those?
Yeah.
Right. Put a chest rig on him and put 4 mags in it, all filled with tannerite, right? and then super gluing ball bearings to the outside of it, right? And then having flash. So as soon as you come in the door, it sets off 2 of those flashbangs. They blow up. You're disoriented. You see that guy in the corner. You shoot at him because it looks like he's got a chest rig and a firearm. Blows up 4 claymore mines, improvised claymore mines, hitting you, right? And then you got like a Roomba coming in that holds about a pound of tannerite coming in.
That will do it.
That'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. I like the 2.0. If I were to buy one now, I would buy the 2.0 carry metal edition. You're looking at about $900 for that gun. You might
I
have
have
get a better deal somewhere.
I have the 2.0 performance center and 10 millimeter. That's a nice gun.
Yeah, they're really, really nice guns. But I would get all if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do all metal.
Yeah.
Any discontinued ammo is going bye-bye? I don't know. Is there?
Discontinued ammo is going by.
Have you? So speaking of which, because SIG makes their own ammo, which now makes me think of the issue with SIG. Have you seen the issue with SIG?
I was going to ask you that about 10 minutes ago.
Man, if you're still doing, if you know this and you still do business with SIG, like you're a traitor to the cause. So for those of y'all that don't know, SIG has been reporting customers to the ATF if they construe your weapon as something other than it is. For example, somebody sent a rifle back to SIG to get repaired, and it had a blade on it, not a stock, kind of like a brace, and they reported them to the ATF. That's just one example, right? Any company that will do that, we don't need to be doing business with. So no more 226s or 229s, no MCXs, no Spears, right? None of that. Stay away from SIG.
I thought about buying a spear on Friday, but I didn't do that either.
So the issue with the spear, there's a lot of issues with the spear, but one is the handguard flexes a lot and will touch the barrel, right? Which throws off your accuracy, which is crazy for the amount of money that gun is.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to me that people still buy that, but they just do it because they have a contract with
the military,
right? Because to the average layman, well, this is military grade, right? This is what the military uses. For someone who's been in the military, like, brother, you call my firearms military grade, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. My firearms are way better than military grade. And that is lowest common denominator stuff there.
I was going to say, especially considering, or not considering, but compare what the spear is supposed to be the general issue weapon, right? Compared to what SOCOM just decided to go with. It wasn't a spear.
The Sons of Liberty Gunworks.
Sons of Liberty,
the Mark I.
Yeah.
Because I've got a M85 upper. That's my go to war rifle. It's a 12.5 inch. I have a suppressor on it. I've got I do have a Sig Sauer red dot on it with a magnifier. Man, that thing is accurate. Suit for a 12.5 inch out at 100 yards, sub half MOAs. It's awesome. Where did you text him? How did you confirm that? Hey, David,
It might,
I
it
just
might
wanted
be
to
in
know.
there. They have an instruction video. He might have just watched
Oh,
that.
do they? Okay, good.
So while you're hating on SIG, what are your thoughts on the new M7?
It's garbage. I think it's garbage. I won't say it's garbage. It should not be issued to the military, because you have to understand you're going to have your average Joe, your average Marine out there abusing this thing, and if it won't get run over by a Humvee and still shoot, we can't have it. Right. So anything that's going to, if you can flex the guard with your hand, that's not good.
Yeah.
Right. Not only that, but then the new high powered round, they're having a whole lot of issues with. Because the reason they went to high powered rounds, they want to be able to have some armor piercing at longer distances. Right. Because they think the wars of the future, we're going to be shooting from 800 meters or more.
They're thinking wars with Russia and China.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So the issue there is, one, you're creating this new high powered round. It's blowing out these barrels. Like they're getting 1,500 rounds out of a barrel before they have to change it, which is like my FN barrel in the Marine Corps. I think it had 21,000 rounds before I got deployed with it the second time. Right. And I still stopped great with that. It was still getting, one MOA at 100 yards. Even with the garbage 55 grain ammo we had, it was doing really well. But the other issue with the SIG is the fact that there's no support for it from SIG, right? They don't have the parts to repair a lot of these things in case something happens. And if you're having to blow out a barrel over 1,500 rounds, which you're going through 120 rounds a year just at the rifle range, right? And if you do any type of training, you're looking at 300, 400, 500 more rounds. Once a year, you might have to change that barrel out, right? That's crazy. But with that higher powered round and a bigger round, you can carry less ammo because it's heavier, which is the reason we got away from 308 in the first place, was because you can carry a whole lot more ammo with 5.56, double the ammo, if not triple, right? On just a basic loadout. So I don't know. I think that was somebody getting a kickback deal, probably, which started that, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. Yeah. And they've got thermals on it, an LPVO, and the things like carrying around a child.
Well, they have the new sights are ballistic computers.
Yeah, it's insane. Look, the Germans do two things better than everyone else: engineering and heresy.
Well, and to be fair, this is not the German SIG.
No,
the German SIG is dead. There's still a
Yeah.
Swiss SIG, not Sig
Mhm.
Sauer, just SIG.
Mhm.
And now Sig Sauer USA is run by an Israeli Jew. So literally, he served in the IDF.
I'm not surprised. Not surprised whatsoever. Yeah. No, not a fan. Oh. Why are we trying to get away from the 5.6? It doesn't make any sense. What we need to do is what they're doing is
The new high
put
high
that
pressure.
engineering, to better rounds, which is why we've got the M855 and then what's the new one? It's got the steel penetrating
The
tip
A1?
to it. Is it the A1?
The 855 A1.
Yeah, and that's what they need to do. That's where we're getting your 75 and your 77 grain rounds now, and that's where you're going from a 1 to 9 twist out to a 1 to 7 on the barrels for the heavier rounds to be able to get more accuracy out of them.
What Q is doing with the 8.6 blackout and how they're playing with the twist rate is really interesting too. They've because the reason why up until recently, I think that what is it, 1 and 7 is your average 5.56 or your fastest twisting 5.56.
It is
They didn't want to go lower than that or higher than that, however you look at it, because they're afraid of the ammo literally tearing itself apart as it spins.
Yeah.
But the 8.6 blackout is doing 1 and 3, and that thing is it's a subsonic, huge, heavy round that is showing itself to be incredibly accurate and has a ton of penetration Because even
Yeah.
even if it's not moving fast, that rotational energy
Yeah.
is still energy.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there may be finally a round that does replace the 5.56, but because the problem you have, the reason that a lot of these rounds are going to have a hard time getting off the ground is the 5.56 is so ubiquitous now. We
Yeah.
have the logistical support to make these rounds on the civilian market in case we need them, and if we can't get them from the military market anymore, right? And you can find AR-15 parts everywhere, right? So I just it's the same thing,
And it's
the
all
same reason with-
standardized.
yeah, so it's much easier to repair these things, and the manufacturing is there. So even if they switch to a different round, it's going to have to still be on the AR platform, and you're just going to switch the barrel out, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to have to work with the mags that they currently use, right? Because it's going to be a hard time to get anybody to switch it. That's why people go to Glock and stay with Glock, because they can use their mags interchangeably, right?
Yeah.
When I want to go out and shoot my Shadow compact, like I got to make sure I got all my mags with me, because my 34 Glock mags don't work.
No.
Go ahead. Are you doing a favor?
No, so it's owned by some holding company that is rather shady, and no one knows who really owns the holding company.
All these companies are being bought up by private equity.
Right.
That's what's happening. Even my favorite sandwich shop, Jersey Mike's,
They're smaller now.
and there's not as much meat, and that's the whole reason I go to you. I'll pay $20 for a sub because I want to pick it up like I'm picking up a barbell. Okay, not anymore. It's like going to Subway. It's all bread.
Yeah. I have not shot the Tavor, but I do have I forget its real name, but the Springfield imports it as the Hellion. I have the Hellion.
I hate bullpups.
Yeah.
I think they're awkward. Their accuracy is garbage. That's the biggest issue with bullpups, is the accuracy is really not good. But you can get used to anything, like the magazine in your armpit, like that. If I can shoot an AK, I can do that. But it's just the accuracy is not good. Eventually, it cartwheels. Eventually, it does. It was initially designed to tumble.
Yeah.
But then NATO and the UN and Geneva Convention had a real big issue with that, because it was intended to more wound than anything. So they made them change it so it doesn't tumble as much.
Boring NATO.
Boring. Yeah. All right. What we got? Anything got? So did you post the link to the Telegram earlier?
Oh, let me do that real quick.
Yeah. So we're gonna post a link to Telegram. Get in there if you're not in there. Share this video. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Try and get this out to as many people as possible so they can be aware of this community. I've got George wanting to come on again from Chivalry Guild. I want him to come on again, and he agreed to it. He's not like beating down my door to get back on. I want to get Chris back on to do another.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Like an apothecary video, like what kind of medicine should we have?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the apothecary bag. Never mind.
We know about that too.
Because I bought one of them.
But like a homemade medicine cabinet, like what should we have for in the event that we can't get access to a hospital or something for a little bit. So those kind of some of the shows I want to do. Next Monday, I want to do the show over the manual where we kind of touched on a little bit in the first.
Okay.
Half.
That'll be good.
I want to do a whole show going over that. I'm gonna make a summary and everything.
What's your favorite HK?
I want to shoot the 516, 416.
416.
Here's the 5.56.
Right.
H something, whatever, right?
Yeah.
5.56K or whatever. I want to shoot one of those. I like Havoc 2.1 on X a lot. I think he gives a lot of good, and I trust a lot of his information. And he's kind of got me one, but I just can't spend $4,000 on a rifle.
I mean, the 416 is basically AR style short gas piston gun, right?
Yeah. Patriot Ordnance Factory out of Arizona does the
Yeah.
same thing for less money.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's, but like you get a like it. The 416 or the 556, whatever version you get, is worth the $4,000. Don't get
I
me wrong.
mean, like
If I had
half of
$4,000 to blow on that, I would, but I can't justify that.
yeah, like the HK 416 might be the most widely adopted rifle by NATO Special Forces units of any rifle out there.
I have the the Renegade Plus. It's got a really cool bolt carrier system on it. It's got a roller on it, so it lessens the amount of wear and tear between the bolt carrier, the bolt and the bolt carrier group and the upper. It's really innovative. There's a lot of really innovative things about that rifle. But they made their bones by making piston ARs. So I wonder if they've got anything that's comparable.
If I had I have three. Obviously the MP5 and its variants. The Mark 23, of course, hard to beat that thing. But the P30, I think could be the perfect concealed carry gun if they had optic cuts on them. You can get Langdon Tactical has them with optic. They'll do optic cuts on them, but they don't come from HK with optic cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, HK has always been one of those I'm always scared to get into it because it's kind of like buying a Mercedes. Like the cost isn't in the buying the Mercedes, it's in maintaining the Mercedes. Right. That's my scare about it. Because I know like a Glock, if that thing goes out on me, I could just buy another Glock.
Right.
Eventually everything cartwheels. On a long enough distance and timeline, everything cartwheels. Even me.
Plus, you can buy the exact ammo the military buys. Most of the military variants.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a single military 5.56 round you can't buy.
The A1. You can't buy the A1.
You sure?
I mean, I don't know of anybody who sells it. I've not seen it. And if you do get it, you're probably paying $1 a round. Lake City is the manufacturer for most of the military ammunition, and when they have overflow, basically they sell it to the civilian market.
Yeah, right here. Dozer Munitions has it from Lake City. They have 241 boxes of 10 rounds for sale right now.
How much is
$30 for 10 rounds?
$3 a round.
$3 a round.
Yeah, I'm too poor for that. That's a rich man's bag right there.
That is some mean looking 5.56 ammo.
Apparently the ballistics on it are phenomenal.
Why does it come in a stripper clip?
Man, that's what they all come in.
Do they?
Yeah, in the military, they all come in stripper clips. They come in bandoliers it's got 6 pockets in the bandolier. It's like a cloth bandolier. But they all come in stripper. So I have a stripper clip feeder on my plate carrier. So if I get ammo, because you just put it on the back, it fits on the back of the mag. I'll have to show you all sometime. But you put the stripper clip feeder on the back, you put it and you just shove it down and it goes right in. Loads 10 rounds at a time. I can load bags super quick with that thing.
Interesting.
Awesome. Yeah. And the feeder clip comes in. It comes with like 2 or 3 of them in there.
2 or 3 what? What are you talking about? What?
2 or 3 of them in a can of ammunition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because what we would do is we would take the mag. Is the mag in here? So you've got the mag, right?
Yep.
You put the clip on the back and you feed the stripper into it, and we would turn it over and just put it on a table on the corner and shove it down there. And whoop. All right, give them the next one. Whoop. You can load 30 rounds in like 5 seconds.
Sweet.
Awesome.
You'll have to show us your ways.
I will.
We don't have locals for this yet.
No, not yet. We need more people to subscribe so we can get locals.
Yeah. We 369 subscribers, I think, before this.
All right. What do we need? We need 1,000 for super chat.
Yeah.
Because I want to get to super chats because I want to start because there's a I'm sure, like I like to donate all to charity locally. There's a local pro-life organization that I'm a part of, that we go out, and we have two RVs that go out, provide free ultrasounds. We do a little bit of evangelization while we're doing it. But we go out to underprivileged communities and target them specifically, because those are most likely the ones that are going to be, killing their babies. So I'd like to do some shows and donate all the super chats to that.
Okay.
So I'd like to be able to get to that point to where we can do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't need the money. Like I'm not here doing this for the money at all. This is just fun for me. That's why I give y'all one night of my week. But any money we would make I would just donate it to that. And there's a local nonprofit as well that helps place and protect sex trafficked teens, that I've been helping out with as well. Yeah, the Mag Lula strippers clip loader is good too, but nothing like a free one that comes with a box of ammo.
Yeah. Now, see, on this show, I can put all the comments on screen. Can't do that on the main channel. Not with those
Why's
comments.
that? Oh yeah.
I could, but it would be bad.
I don't want y'all to get demonetized.
Right.
If we get demonetized, what are they gonna do? Nothing. We're not even monetized.
We're not monetized. We are demonetized. No, Freeman, no.
Can't take money away from me if I don't got none. All right, guys, we're gonna cut it here. Been a good show. Next Monday we'll do this again. We'll go over the ISIS survival guide and what to look out for. Y'all don't want to see my local side. If I could be behind a paywall, the opinions of mine y'all would hear would be crazy.
Though on the locals, we could at least show the guns.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll get to that one day. One day what I'd like to do is be at the range during a show and just be shooting and talking at the same time.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
I got some tannerite I need to blow up eventually.
We'll have one of those viral clips where one of us almost dies from shrapnel.
No, I wouldn't put it in like a refrigerator. So there's a bunch of pumpkins out right now. I would probably just put tannerite and a bunch of pumpkins on top of it and see how high we can get the pumpkins.
Or in the summer, we can do it with watermelon.
Mm-hmm. What I want to do, like this is kind of the first time I'm bringing it up. I'd like to do a Guns and Rosaries shooting camp out at my property down here in Alabama.
That'd be sweet.
Like late spring next year.
Yeah.
I'll provide all the meat. Y'all can bring some other stuff to cook. We'll camp out, shoot, have some talks. Maybe we can get a priest to come out with us.
I know a priest in Texas that would love to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would be fun. Do that for like 2 or 3 days, like a long weekend, I'd have to charge a little bit just to have some people with some skin in the game. So we don't have a bunch of people just showing up.
Right.
Like $25 or something, but we just come down, we camp for a couple of days, do a bunch of shooting, have some bonfires, eat some good food, maybe have a priest give us a talk or two while we're down here. That'd be fun.
It sounds fun. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to cut it out. I know we keep trying to do that Midwestern goodbye. All right, well, I guess I'll see y'all later.
Why did you make the Midwest people sound more southern than you?
You know what I do? What me and my father-in-law do? When I'm ready to go, I'm like, well, I'm glad you got to see me. I'll see y'all later. Everybody's like, what? All right, guys, we'll see y'all next week.
Many men wish death upon me, but put a